Welcome back to Healthy Living with BOFA today. Hello, wonderful people. How you doing? I'm sure we all had a beautiful celebration of our Christmas. I did too. Welcome back. I'm Betsy Olayinka Folarin Akinlosotu, aka BOFA, your host for today's show. As usual, we always come on this show every Sunday to educate and sensitize on health and wellness, as well as teaching you how to discover yourself through primary food. This is the reason why we feature experts, professionals with experiences and knowledge in this field, health and wellness. I want you to reflect every day on wellness as not only about your body, but about everything in your life and your environment. Do not also forget that teaching you today about wellness can also affect every part of your life. I mean, each aspect of this wellness can affect your life, either negatively or positively. On this program, we have 3 segments: Egg Corner, interview with experts, and nutrition segment. Last week, I made an announcement of the prize giveaway, and I also made it known to you that we will be announcing today those who get the answer correctly. Here we go. The question from last week's program are this. Listen again. What is the plaque built up in the wall of the artery that supply blood to the heart called? What do we call it? The answer is artery disease. And the winner is Pastor Mrs. Ekaete Williams. Congratulations, Pastor Mrs. Williams. And the second question is coming from nutrition segment. And it says, mention one food to avoid and one food to eat with artery disease. And the answer again is food to avoid is high fat food. And the food to eat are fruits and vegetables. And the winner is Mr. Ademola Henry. Please send your account number or detail for your prize. Thank you all for your participation. I appreciate that. Okay, please and please, I'm begging you right now, and I know you're lovely people, wonderful people. You love me so much the way I love you all. Please don't forget to leave us what you think about this program, especially your answer to our questions. Even if you don't want the prize, leave us your thoughts, your advice, your idea, how you want us to do it, how you want us to improve it. Just leave it on this comment box on YouTube. It's right there. And let me apologize for last week. Many people want to leave their comment, but unfortunately, we have a technical problem of setting it up. The comment box wasn't available last week. Please do so today and leave us your comment. We appreciate that. You can also send us any question related to health and nutrition. If you don't want anybody to know what you're telling us, you want it to be confidential, just send it to our email, and the email is hlwbofa@gmail.com. You can also send your questions to +1 929 283 2653. We will respond to your email or your question on our number, WhatsApp, within 24 hours. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you all. And I pray that this 2021, we will all enter into it with joy and in good health. Now, here are today's questions. Get your pen and paper and ready to get the prize, to win the prize. The first question is coming from Health Corner, and we will be teaching the answer shortly. The first one is, what happens when the bacteria in the human large intestine feed on carbohydrates in the human stool? Again, what happens when the bacteria in the human large intestine feed on the carbohydrates in the human stool? The second question is coming from nutrition section, and it says, mention 3 things to do to get rid of gas. Today on nutrition segment, we will be discussing on food that causes gas and make you feel bloated. We'll also teach bloating and gas on health segment. So all your answers are right there for you to win the prize. Let's take a break. When we return, it's Health Corner right here. My good girl. Not be my fault. Oh, na, 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 na. Jehovah done to me something. Oh, it is another destiny. My life is a testimony. Oh, na, na, na. Jehovah done to me something. Come on. My life is a
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Living Healthy with BOFA channel. Last week, we discussed arteries and the effects that they can have on everybody's common day life. This week, we're gonna get ready to rumble. And Merry Christmas also. Our topic is gastritis versus bloating. Let's jump right into it. What is gas? Gastritis is a general term for a group of conditions with one thing in common: inflammation of the lining of the stomach. The inflammation of gastritis is most often the result of infection with the same bacterium that causes most stomach ulcers. Versus, what is being bloated? Bloating can have causes that aren't due to underlying disease. Examples include drinking carbonated beverages, eating a large meal, menstruation, constipation, or gas. Cause. Gas happens when bacteria in your large intestine feeds on carbohydrates that are in your stool. Effects. Then, later on, you'll become constipated. It can be harder for the gas to pass. That can leave you feeling bloated and uncomfortable too. In other words, constipation can make you feel bloated. Treatments. Treatments depend on the cause. Antibiotic and antacids might help. Acid blockers also help. Histamine H2 blockers reduce the amount of acid released into your digestive tract, which relieves gastritis pain and encourages healing. Now, types of medicines. Gastritis, we have antacid, proton pump inhibitor, penicillin, antibiotics, and antidiarrheal. For bloating, we have Pepto-Bismol, a fan favorite, activated charcoal, simethicone, lactase enzyme, which is also known as lactate or dairy ease, Beano. Now, key takeaways. Mind what you eat. Be mindful of your carbohydrate food intake. Number 2, be conscious of reactions in the body. Number 3, the domino effects applies to your personal health as well. And number 4, there are natural and chemical ways to treat bloating and gastritis. That's all we have for this week, folks. I'm signing off.
All right, welcome back to interview segment. Wow, this is the day, the moment we've been waiting for. Today on interview segment, we will be focusing on service to others in our community. I mean, service to humanity. According to medical research, serving others is good for our mental health, our emotional well-being, and our self-esteem. And the laws of this universe have shown time and time again that those who serve others are more successful themselves. On interview segment today, we have a woman of excellence, full of passion for others, especially persons living with disability, particularly in the area of female gender. Mrs. Ekaete Judith Umoh is our guest on the program today. Mrs. Ekaete is the national president for JONAPWD, that is Joint National Association of Persons with Disability. She is the CEO and founder FASIP Disability Plus. Interestingly, she is a global disability rights activist. Wow. Mrs. Ekaete, you're welcome on the program, Healthy Living with BOFA. Can you hear me? We can't see you. Your video is not on. Hey! Wow, how are you? Can you hear me? I think you're okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you.
I can hear you. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Very unstable. Sorry about that.
Yes, I can see you. Sure, I can see you. Can you hear me too?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good, good, good. So we're on the same page. Welcome on Healthy Living with BOFA. This is a health and nutrition program. It's a wellness program. And when it comes to wellness, it involves everything in our lives, because many people think wellness is only about our body, hygiene, go to the doctor, eat good food. No, it's more than that. It's about our community, about our environment, our spirit, our finances, our career. They're all involved in wellness. And that's the reason why we have this segment, interview with experts. And the reason why you are here today is to tell us what service to humanity it's all about. Many people want to go into it. They don't know how to go about it. But with you today, and I'm sure many people will fall into that career. Because to me, I see service to humanity as a career. If you are able to start from the beginning and turn into an organization, it is a career. All right? Do you agree with me? Now, let me first of all appreciate you before we start for coming on this show. In fact, you really impressed me. I am so happy, even till now and forever, I'll be so happy. Because the day I spoke to you, I thought I'm going to be ignored or disrespected, or, so many things was coming to my mind, because I've spoken to many women in Nigeria, not men, because all the men that I spoke to, they related to me nicely, respectfully. But I find it so annoying and disappointing when I speak to female like me, to invite them. The way they respond to you, it's just too much, something that I cannot stand. But when I spoke to you, I must confess, you're a woman of excellence, woman of integrity, woman of respect and humility, and that turns me on. Trust me. And I want to appreciate you for that, for coming on with this, your busy schedule. You still find your way to be here. You don't even say, let me think about it, or I'll fix the date. The date I gave you, you just accepted it. Thank you so much. God will honor you. I really appreciate that. Now, let's keep the ball rolling. Who is Mrs. Ekaete Judith Umoh? Tell us your background, just basic one, career background, educational background, because I didn't mention all those. And usually I get that from my guests, but unfortunately, because of the time frame, I couldn't get that from you. So just tell us in 1 minute, let's know who we have on the program today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And again, many thanks for your kind words, which is very much appreciated. Always my pleasure. Always my pleasure, madam. So who is Ekaete? It's going to be difficult for me to even describe who I think I am, but I will just let you know. My name is Ekaete Judith Umoh. I'm a passionate disability right activist, and I have a bias for gender, disability, and development. Um, I've been through schools. At least I've been through universities. I've studied. I'm primarily a microbiologist, a lab scientist. But passion drove me into social issues, and that's where we are. I'm an educationist. I mean, at least I'm a teacher, and also I'm a social worker, and I have a master's degree in social work. And I enjoy seeing people very happy. My business is to ensure that women with and girls with disabilities gain the required visibility to enjoy life as non-disabled women.
Wow. Wow, you've been in it for a very long time and you've achieved so much. God bless you. Bless the work of your hand. Thank you so much. Now we know who Mrs. Ekaete is. Ma'am, we've met physically. I mean, sorry, we haven't met physically, but I had opportunity to meet you on virtual meeting some months ago, which I discussed with you. However, I've heard about you from different people, especially people you serve in your community and in Nigeria as a country. You see, I tell people that you may not know everybody that come across your way, but I tell you today, they all know you and they read us like Bible, like Quran. That's what people do, either in bad way or in good way. They read us. And you see, I may not see physically all you have done, what you are doing for your community right now. Maybe I will probably see henceforth what you'll be doing for your community. But honestly, that's, and what I heard about you was really, really amazing, encouraging, and so impressive. I had an opportunity to speak to some people, I mean, people you serve in your community. I mean, persons living with disability. And I must confess that the responses I got from them were positively encouraging. Let me tell you this, for this reason, you will be receiving questions from this group of people on this program today. Because what we usually do is we ask people to send the question and type it either on comment box or to my WhatsApp so that we can throw that to our guests. And today, your lovers, your people, your followers are on this program live on YouTube, watching us right now. So you will be receiving questions from them while we move on this program. Am I permitted to proceed in this
Please
interview?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Good.
Go ahead.
Good. Thank you so much for this honor. Once again, I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, to me, service to humanity is not about maintaining a gracious relationship between one another in the society. Service to humanity is about building a bond among the society with the help of sustainable values. Now, the question is, how is service to other? I mean, how is service to humanity has been like? Is it challenging, tense, discouraging, or incredibly encouraging and delightful? Tell us.
Thank you so very much. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me to answer straight, but
Just to answer it the way it's coming to you. Just do it.
well, I will simply say combination of those. A combination of those. It could be very taxing, very taxing. You have an idea, I know. It could be very taxing, but there's something that sustains you, even as taxing as it is, you know. So it could be taxing and it could be very interesting, it could be challenging as well. But what is it that keeps you afloat at those very difficult times when if you look as if you are going to be discouraged, you are downcast and everything. This is humanity. I mean, human beings are very diverse with different characteristics and all of that. So trying to serve in that.
It's Nigerian network.
So generally, it's been taxing, it's been interesting, it's been challenging, but is it really worth it? That would be the question. So I'll keep saying it's worth it, no matter what it is. It's been
Wow, that's nice. It's good to hear that. Now that you've told us the good and the ugly, I don't want to say ugly because to me, serving others is so much lovely, beautiful, make you happy. That's what it does to me. And that's why I see, and that's the way I see it. So now that you have told us both the ugly and the, good part of this career, I call it career. Another question I have for you is, why did you choose this pathway? What is the motivation behind your choice in serving others?
Well, it's a little bit a long story, but I'll try to summarize. I haven't had polio as a child. I grew up in a community and in a family that sees me as a queen and also told me I'm a queen and my name is Ekaete, nothing else. So I grew up with that mentality, very strong with good self-esteem until I got to the university and I was placed in an hostel where I had female students with disabilities. At first, I reacted to that setting because for me, I thought it was like a rehabilitation center. I've never been to any settings where you have to put people with disability separately for whatever reason. I remember getting very edgy and going to the student affairs officers that I would want to change. I don't want to be in that house. After much trouble, he said, look, Ekaete, go back. I think they need you on that floor. So I went there and I enjoyed the whole thing. It was basically my interaction with my fellow students that opened my understanding to the fact that I was greatly privileged. And a lot of them told me so many funny, ugly stories. They were institutionalized. In fact, some of them had broken homes because maybe their mother had them as a child and the father didn't quite think that was good enough a child. And so a lot of things happened. They were stigmatized. And so I heard so many terrible stories that was like, what is all this happening? It was then I started appreciating God for my situation and my family because I didn't come with that kind of mindset. And I said, no, this is not good enough. So that idea of, trying to work these young girls out of that mindset became a little bit difficult. But my constant interaction with them opened my understanding to the fact that it's not as if the parents were outrightly very mean, although some had displeasure towards disability. It's just that they couldn't cope with the challenges the disabling condition was presenting to the families at that time. So they got very irritated and took them to so many homes I don't want to mention now. And there was a lot of labeling as I'm more disabled or this, all those kind of funny things. So I saw that they came with a poor self-esteem. And that wasn't my case at all. In fact, I never heard the word disabled until I got to the university.
Sorry for the internet
role model, letting them understand that they had a wrong impression about children with disabilities. And if they were going to see me and love me and admire me, they could also make their children look like me or something like that. That was where the idea started. And immediately after school, 95 or 96, I now started what I call a small organization called Family Centered Initiative for Challenged Persons.
And what year was that?
And that was about year 2000 now, because I'd gone for my youth service 96 and I was doing a lot of volunteering service around. But by 2000, I started family-centered initiative for challenged persons. But the vision has evolved now. That is what we are calling family passive disability plus now, because a whole lot of issues. And the main vision then was to help families with children with disabilities to cope with disabling condition that would have been posed into the family and the challenges and how they were going to go around it so that they don't end up punishing the child for nothing because they don't have the expertise to cope with the challenges.
Wow. 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 That's a long story. And that's very, it sounds so challenging and interesting to me. Trust me. And if you can go through all that and you still decide to still work in that part, it's a big decision for you. And I want to congratulate you for that. Oh, wow. Now, Mrs. Ekaete, I see in you that humanity is not about showing passion and empathy to each other at time of need alone, but you also demonstrated love in high esteem and kindness in all walks of life as true definition of humanity. I mean, based on my research about you, I heard about many projects you have executed, the policy you have created. One of these is female gender equality. You have fought tirelessly on this. The question on that is, tell us about FACIP Foundation, female gender equality, and why do you choose to work in this area? You've told us the reason why you choose to work there, but I want you to tell us about FACIP, because I went on your page. I read so many things, and I went on internet. I researched, but that's what I do before I can bring people on my program. Tell us about FACIP Foundation.
Am I still heard? Because it looks as if the internet is
yes, you're on.
Am I still heard?
Go on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said earlier, family-centered initiative for challenged person later metamorphosed and the vision started evolving. Recall I had said that I interacted with female students with disabilities.
Okay.
So after my graduation, I also noticed that a lot of women's organizations did not take into consideration the issues of. It was a huge fight. So I started engaging the women's movement, telling them, hey, yeah, I'm here. I'm a woman. And no disability is strong enough to take away my gender. So if women are showing up, I'm going to show up very well. So where is my space within the women's movement? Where is my space within the women's discourse? So it was very strange at that time. This is about 20 years ago or thereabout. And it was, what is she talking about? So my passion for, gender equality was not just within male and female, was even within the women's movement, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at equality, I was looking at equity. So if we are talking about women, where is the space of women with disability within women's agenda? I wanted to know. Otherwise, if they told me I'm not a woman, then I could find my elsewhere maybe. But no one has told me I'm not a woman yet. So why is it that in every discourse, we are talking about women's issue, women with disability are so invisible? I was asking that question because I thought it would be an holistic way of addressing gender equality and anything that has to do with issues of marginalization. So we can be talking of women's equality and leaving out the 20% of that population, because women with disability make about 20% of the global women's population. Even in Nigeria, it's national everywhere. So how could you be talking about women's issue and you're leaving out your 20%? And I told them that wasn't working. So that was where issues of gender equality was. And then I was leading a disability movement where you have male dominance. Given that we are coming from a patriarchal society, they weren't going to give you any space. You had to go pushing. So I had two strong issues that I was struggling with here. Within the disability movement, I was struggling to ensure that women and girls with disability were visible and had a space there. And within the women's movement, I was also trying to struggle to see that women with disabilities were also visible and had a space within the women's agenda. So for me, equality was like all around. It meant a different thing to me compared to other than male-female relationship or power relation. but I wanted to infuse that disability component so that we don't leave out some people and we are talking about the same issue. And that has been my drive. So among that, so what I do generally is that for anywhere you have to talk about women's issue, I show up to give women with disability that visibility, that space, and infuse their issues into your agenda.
Wow, wonderful. You just told us why it is necessary to serve not only
Was I breaking at some point? Now, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, although we were breaking at some point.
Oh, okay. I just said that you've told us how it is very necessary to serve and help others. In all you've been saying, I figured that out, that it is very necessary to serve others, especially those that have no opportunity to get what they want, to fight for themselves. You just told us how you stood up for them. Thank you so much on that. Now, there are many ways in which we can serve God by serving others. I look at the whole things in the world. At least I can mention 15. The good news is, out of these 15 ways, I've seen you doing 12. Maybe because I've not met you one-on-one. Maybe could be the reason why you can't score all the 15. I know that. But trust me, you just score A+. You want to clap for yourself.
Thank you.
So I don't want to take too much of our time. I'll send them to you on your WhatsApp. You look at it. So whichever one I didn't, give you credit for, then you can see if you have it or not, then work on it. So I'm just going to skip that because I have seen that before now, and I also confirm it right now on the program. So thank you for that. Now, recently, you have been awarded the Outstanding Volunteers Award by the UN, United Nations Volunteers Program in Nigeria. On what ground is this prize given? Did you get it?
Yes, the network was fluctuating, so I didn't get what you were saying.
I said you have been awarded recently.
Okay.
You get that? You have been awarded recently the Outstanding Volunteer Award by the UN Volunteers Program in Nigeria. On what ground is this prize given?
Okay. I wouldn't really know their criteria, but they were busy looking at for people who were selfless, who were just doing their thing in their little corner, and some are contributing to addressing, working towards achieving some of the SDGs. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't even know they were quietly or secretly looking at for people, and they were looking in my direction. And the short video where I was asked to send to them, I knew there were a few questions where they asked, why do I choose to volunteer? Why am I volunteering? And what have I done so far in the course of my volunteerism? So I want to believe that they have seen my work in the disability community. I remember one of my response to them was that I have gained some knowledge, skills, and I'm highly skilled, and I couldn't return to Nigeria and just watch that things we are not doing, they're not done properly. I just permit me to say that I have serious.
Wow.
Of international experience or exposure or trainings, a lot of training around disability. So when I returned to the country, I noticed that disability issues were just handled from the charity perspective, from welfareism perspective, and I thought it was effective into the work that they were doing around disability and development. So my main message was that disability issue is a human rights issue, and it's also a development issue. And that persons with disability are entitled to whatever rights anyone has. So I had done some kind of training around advocacy, and I remember in the course of fighting for our disability law, when it was
Okay.
Still a bill. I remember I spent almost years that was part of the struggle. So which they liked, and I don't know what they thought about, but that was the response I gave them.
So it's okay to say that the award is for your volunteer service, right? Okay. I think can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mrs. Ekaete? Can you hear me? Can you hear me
Yes,
now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good, good. Now we're still on female equality, female gender. Let me ask you this. Few years back, a few years back, we found out that rape have been grossly underreported in Nigeria. Right now, we are eliminating this barbaric acts. What is the best way to prevent a potential rape in the country?
This is a very tough question that might not have a straight answer. But it would be nice, or it would be great if we can collectively unpack the reason behind us. Why are they enjoying doing this kind of a thing that they are doing? So if we are able to unpack,
Network
a
here.
lot of them do.
The network is not on our side today. It won't let us enjoy Mrs. Ekaete today. And we have a very serious issue to discuss today. And I want to apologize for that. Hello, Mrs. Ekaete. Wow. Please, Nigerian government, help us do something to this internet problem. This network problem is killing us. Mrs. Ekaete, if you can hear me, maybe we should do it on, audio, if that is okay. Because sometimes when you're on video, it's consuming a lot of data and it's in and out. If you can hear me, we can go ahead with audio. Wow. Okay. All right, she's coming back. Let's see. All right, she's back.
So sorry, network has been so.
Yeah, we understand. It's always like that with our guests if they're coming from our motherland.
This part of
It's always, it's only in Nigeria. All this can happen.
it's something else, please. So
I understand. So the question is still on rape in the country.
Yes. So I'm just wondering that I had responded by saying it'd be nice to unpack the reason why whoever does this kind of thing did it. I mean, why they decide to rape. I mean, and what is the reason behind? Not until we understand their motives and be able to address that root cause, it will be difficult to just stop. So what do they want? What do they want? Is it a show of power? Has it to do with a show of force? Is it for gratification? Is it that they just want to punish these young girls or women? What is the real motive behind it? For whatever reason, I think it's very barbaric and horrible. I think it should be, and I know in Kaduna State, they are thinking of.
Wow. Please bear with us. The network
Castration as it is now. That very horrible punishment is whatever is thinking. Some are even calling for motion. It's horrible because taking a whole lot from this and the psychology. Then we can understand, we can now collectively begin to think of how to stop this. But I think the clear message is that it is horrible. It is bad. For whatever reason, it is really, really horrible. If we get stiffer punishment, perhaps, I mean, that will, make them think twice. They will not take it for granted, as it were.
Okay, you just mentioned before you break up, you said that something happened in Kaduna, like a law that is being, okay.
Deeper punishment, castration.
Okay, I know castration, they do that for them. Why in Kaduna? Why not in the whole country? Is Nigerian having law state by state now?
No, yes, the GBV Act and every there are a lot of laws now. If you look at the last between 16 days activism against gender-based violence, you see that sexual and gender-based violence is really on the front burner of discourse. State by state, they are domesticating.
Okay.
Violence Against Persons Act, VAP Act, has what it is giving us a clear sense of direction on how to deal with these cases. Even if it's been passed at the federal level, you need to domesticate at the state level. So each state is taking it, as they deem fit. And for each, Nigeria is so diverse, culturally, religiously. So as it comes, everyone is taking it as it pinches. So maybe Kaduna State thinks this is not a joke anymore.
And
other states may just follow, say maybe execution, maybe say whatever, but it's horrible. It's so bad, and
yeah, it is.
Yes,
it is, and it's very sad that this is happening in it happens. It happens in all other countries too, but when it comes to Nigeria, it's uncontrollable.
Yes, because they get away with it.
It is now that people are speaking, and before, maybe because people have not been talking, they have not been saying their mind out. That was why he was going on, and nobody can stop it. Now that we have people speaking out, and the judgment, the punishment is being, imposed, maybe everything will come down. Even you can't see any country without rape. That is, you can, at least you will find one or two. But when it's becoming something like it's like a carnival, it's happening everywhere. That's what we have to work on. And to me, I believe that preventing potential rape ultimately depends on educating people on rape and taking a stand against it. Because in an ideal world, the best way to prevent a potential rape is to educate all the members of both sexes to respect and help each other. If that can be put in place, imposed, and created as policy, as law, I think that will work too. Because if I see my sister being raped there and somebody is molesting her and I can't talk, I can't fight for the person, I can't speak out, that's another problem. So we should be able to bring both sexes. We can say, because women rape too. It's just that it's not happening in Nigeria. It's happening all over the world. Women rape. So we have to bring both sexes together and speak to them, educate them. Because I come to Nigeria very often for a program when it comes to health and wellness. We serve persons living with disability. That's what our foundation does. And I've never seen any program based on rape. Everybody are doing seminar, classes and stuff. I've never heard or seen it on this social media where the class is being taken on rape. We don't bring people together. Here in school, they teach, the children, they teach them right from high school, in college and stuff like that, but they don't do that in Nigeria. I think if they can bring them together, both sexes together, and educate them, I think it will also work. Or what do you think?
Well, that is very correct. But like I said, it depends on the psychology. If it's a vindictive rapist, what will you do? What kind of education do you want to give? So it is, and if it's one that gets gratification, the mindset, and remember, culture differs. Some years back, it was shame to the victim. Nobody will talk about it. Oh, no, shh. Don't just manage it, because it was so stigmatizing. It was a big load on the victim that's been raped. You go to the police station, you are being messed up. And how did you do it? Was it in your house? And where did he meet you? I mean, it depends. And what kind of dress are you wearing? Now that you're raping 1-year-old baby, 6-month-old baby, what will you say was the sexual attraction to that? So that kind of mindset, and that's what we're talking of, the psychology behind this rape, the rape and the rapists themselves. So I think if we were to just educate them, they will understand. We hope that they are very sane. That's fine. But those whose minds are completely, so it's going to take a multi-dimensional approach to actually. Education is good. Yes, we learn. We know that we tell them to be respectful of one another. Yes, and all of that. I've seen in communities where the guys are looking at this beautiful girl and the girl is not looking in their direction, they gang rape. You see that kind of mindset, just to punish her for being too hard to get.
Wow.
So
I hope
we know we will get there because it's a cultural thing. Now the victims are no longer ashamed of whatever happened. They are now speaking, out.
No.
And I think that is the starting point.
Yes, I think so. Oh, thank you so much on that. We're now on government provisions, such as healthcare for vulnerable people and other people that need it. So we are on government provision now. And when I say provision, we have outlines of all the things that we expect our government to do. We also have question on individual, because we don't expect government to do everything for us. We are also part of this. So before we get to individual, let's talk about the government provision. For disability and vulnerability in Nigeria, such as PWDs, your people, your followers, orphans, less privileged, and people with underlying conditions, and so on. Do you think that government is doing well in terms of healthcare and other provisions, especially this time of COVID-19?
I think COVID-19 has come to expose a lot of gaps, and not just for the vulnerable this time around. It's told us clearly our healthcare system still needs a lot of reforms. It's told us so many things. So the inequalities when it comes to access to services have also been exposed because of COVID-19.
Right.
So now we have a baseline. So it's not as if, we're just thinking on top of our heads and we are forming some kind of figure. There's a baseline now. The COVID experience has exposed everything. So where do we go from here? So before COVID-19, access to services was not as if, it wasn't 50%. Because we did not understand what the needs of persons with disability would be, around healthcare. Let me narrow it down to women and girls with disability. And let me pin it again to sexual and reproductive health, services and commodities. It was difficult. And because this has to do with perception. And she see a girl with a disability, a wheelchair rider getting pregnant, and she's trying to access services, antenatal services. And the healthcare workers are not even trained enough to understand that women and girls with disability are not sexual, and they have their sexual rights intact. And kind of treatment that they get because they want to access services is horrible, horrible. That I can confirm. So access to services wasn't just there. But however, somewhere along the line, there was this push from civil society on how to improve access to sexual and reproductive health services, and product as well for women and girls with disabilities. And so there was a conversation around that, and policies are being developed. So we now have a reference point. Healthcare workers are beginning to be aware that in designing healthcare intervention, you must incorporate the needs of the vulnerable or needs of women and girls with disability into your intervention. They now begin to, they clearly understand that if there are no budgetary allocation, if you don't have budget line for the component of disability component in those services, you cannot deliver those services. Because at the point of implementation, that gap will show up. And you hear them saying, we don't have budget, we did not budget for it. This was because during the design, you never even thought of people with disability, accessing those services. So I want to say that there's now some level of awareness, but are we there? No, not yet. We are still crawling, towards it. But that they don't know, nobody can say I don't know anymore. And given the fact that we now have a law in place that says that persons with disabilities or people with disabilities must have equal access to all services, and that any barriers that stand in the ways of those services got to be removed, then in that case, everyone is beginning to understand that all hands must be on deck for equal services.
Wow. So we should be expecting more from government when it comes to vulnerability now, because I read an article online by the Speaker of the House, Uncle Femi Gbajabiamila, talking about disability. And I think it is not now. These things should have been in place, should have been, implemented for a very long time, because they all come to this, country and see the way they treat this group of people. And when they get to the government, why are they not doing so? And that's what aggravates me most.
So just permit me to jump in there if you don't mind. Since you have mentioned the Speaker of the House of Representatives, I'm not a government spokeswoman, but I just want to give you a piece of information. Recently, we want to thank him. He created a committee for persons with disability within the House. Okay. It's never been there before. Now we have a committee. So it meaning that we have to go to House of Rep, we know where to go straight. And it's not as if we don't know who to contact on disability matters. I think everyone is getting aware and they're beginning to see that if you don't add disability component into your work, it's going to be a minus. And you don't stand anything to lose. Rather, you be gaining if you design an holistic program that is so inclusive. So that awareness is beginning to show up. And everyone, disability is now is not seen as that horrible, low, cheap talk anymore. Everyone is buying into it now because I think there's a clear understanding it's a human rights issue and it's no longer that welfareism anymore. And it's a right. It's a right.
Yes,
I want to.
It is a right. Now let's talk about the ourselves, you and I. We have been doing our part. I'm doing my part. You are doing your part. Even though you started your own long time, and I just started my own about 2 years ago. You are my senior. No problem about it. But let's talk about individual. Individually, how can we also support the government in caring for vulnerable, especially these people living with disability? Because it's always, I put it in right here in my heart. When I think about this group of people, I feel like something should be done every day. I'm thinking about them all the time, what to do. By next year, our foundation will come to Nigeria and you will be invited as well. Because we usually have program for them every 3 months. Even not for this pandemic, we'll have been in Nigeria for 2 times. Three to 4 times a year. So by March, we're going to have a service continuously serving them state by state. We've done Oyo State, we've done Osun State. The next one is Lagos State. So if myself that live far, thousands miles away from Nigeria are coming home for that, what do we expect people living back home to do for this community? How do we help the government? Because certainly government cannot do everything. I'll keep saying it because the mindset of our people back home is, oh, America is a great country. Government does everything. No, it is not the government. Here, during the pandemic, I use that as an example. All NGOs, oh my goodness, I think they take about 90% of this support when it comes to COVID-19. The NGO, Catholic Charity, I work for them as a volunteer. I knew what they did. Even till now, they're still doing, they're still giving away. They are NGO, they are not governmental organization. And this called entertainment industry, the musical entertainment, the movie industry, the comedy, all those, the food they give to each athlete. This were donated, the money were donated by the celebrity of this country. So now, when it comes to our country, Nigeria, what do we expect from people individually?
Okay, it's good to know that a lot is happening out there, and we hope we'll get there as well in Nigeria. So if I want to narrow my response to how might we help persons with disabilities, and to complement government's efforts, I think it would be nice for us to understand and we'll try to understand the issues of disability as it were. Oh, and who are these persons with disabilities? What is it that they really want? Is it really that care? Or is it that pulling the barriers? So there's a combination. And we are so diverse. What person A with disability we want might not be what me, person B, with a person with disability would want. So to have, to bring us all on the same page, our issue has to do with rights. We have impairment, there's no denying the fact. What we are saying is that this impairment is not strong enough to exclude us from participation. We want to care for people. We like people to care for us, but we want to care. We want to care for people. So what is stopping us? What is standing in our ways as persons with disability that is, bringing about this exclusion? That is what I want us to collectively address. Yes, there are people who have impairments, but we face barriers. So the starting point will be, how might we collectively address those barriers that's actually stopping people with disabilities from achieving their full potentials? That is it. And by the time we begin to put our eyes on the barriers and take our eyes off the disability or the impairment, then we are going somewhere. So by the time we say, okay, we have impairment, we must celebrate diversity. We can't all be the same. They are different. People differ from community to community. So let's start from education. Every child will go to school. Because a child is a polio survivor or has mobility impairment, instead of going to a quality, high, good school, they will take this child to school for the handicapped. Grossly underfunded, no teacher, nothing, and that child is there. So simply because this child has an impairment, he's been deprived of quality education. So that is just the issue. So what will we do? We say, children with and without disability must learn and play together. And so every public school must be accessible to all kinds of children with disabilities. We don't want to be institutionalized anymore, because that is where the problem starts from. So when we have that policy that says, hey, everyone, equality, go to school. If I choose to go to school A should be able to accommodate me, knowing fully I'm a person with disability and accept. We don't want to be institutionalized anymore. So you see, it's different. It's very different from if I have health condition and you want to treat me. Now I want to go to school. Now I want to go to school. What is it that we must do? That every child with a disability must access that quality education, as it were, and not push to one school in the bush that is grossly underfunded simply because he has an impairment. Okay, let's take another example of maybe that has to do with employment. I'm a person with disability. I'm well-read, intelligent, everything. Now I've graduated. I need a job. I don't need anybody to care for me. Now I want to work. But the jobs are not ready to make reasonable accommodation that will take into consideration my needs. What is the workplace policy? Do they have a workplace policy that carefully looks at the issues of persons with disability, clearly budgeted for, so that when I show up as a person with disability, the work environment is ready for me to work? Would there just be that attitude, which is one of the greatest barriers we face? What can she do disabled? Oh my God, we can't, not giving me a chance before I show up. So those are the basic things we must say. If I've been to school and I'm graduated and I'm intelligent, I should be able to work. How ready is the community? So for us, policy issue, advocacy issue, then of course the humanitarian issue. Everybody needs this humanitarian, everybody needs care. I keep making this example of COVID-19 and palliative. When it was being distributed, I didn't see many disabled people on the street. It was non-disabled people who were running after this palliative. So everybody needs care, needs this thing at some point in time. So it shouldn't be just pushed through. So those are just, I know we don't have time, but if we want to look at it in terms of programs or programmatically, we know how to peel it one after the other, and we are going somewhere. So that when we are done with education, we can track we can evaluate and say, okay, last year we got 5,000 children with disability into very good schools and they are doing well. You know, and we can't take the place of government. Never. We know government can't do anything, but we are going to also help government at the same time holding them to account. Right. We are on the demand side. We will work with government, but we must also try to do some accountability projects that will also help government to deliver on their mandate as government. While if we see government as taking a chunk of it, we as NGOs, we know how to, you know, complement, and together we can move on. So that is just my response to how we can go. Of course, when there's medical outreaches, we want to be part of it. Anything anybody does, we want to be part of it. We want to be part of it.
Yes, yeah. That's true. That's correct. Because I see the way it's being handled here. It is prohibited to deny anybody based on your gender, your sex, or your religion, and so on. Job. It is a criminal offense. But it's not like that. Why? Because it is not in our policy. It is not in our constitution to do that. I think that's where we need to work on. That's what they need to do. If they can implement that, put it in their policy that no persons living with disability should be rejected or denied of any job. I think that will go a long way, because a lot of people, the first time I came to Nigeria for our program, something happened. I'm going to share it with you today. And so I leave this planet, I will be telling people that. I called many people in Nigeria to come. You know, I don't know anybody when it comes to persons living with disability. And the people I was introduced to were the same, this community. But unfortunately, to my surprise, I realized that people living with disability are able to do all that I requested them to do. And people that are able couldn't do it for me. And I'm going to mention, it's not that it's not a pride. When somebody do something and I'm happy and I feel really encouraged about it, I like to mention him. And I believe you know this guy. Is Rahim Olatunji. He lives in Ibadan. Is one of your guys. And he does this thing every time I speak to him. He is so intelligent. Anything I ask him to do, he's going to do it, even beyond what I thought. And this guy, it's on wheelchair. So my point is, we have this intelligent, smart people among this community. So why they are not getting help? That's my concern. Because in America, if you see a talented person, gifted child, government invest in them. And why that is not happening in Nigeria, I have no idea.
I think I have an idea.
Okay. Tell us.
First of all, let me even tell you that we now have a law in place. So even the employment I was talking about, the law says at least 5% of jobs must be reserved for persons with disabilities within the public, public offices, government offices. That is what it says. So the law is very clear on how you should treat persons with disability. So what I was pointing at has to do with reasonable accommodation. The law did not specifically put reasonable accommodation. So in unpacking the law during the implementation, we should be looking at the area of a reasonable accommodation. Rahim, very smart guy. That is my Assistant Secretary General. The guy is smart. And I think that's what I'm saying, that you had polio that does not even affect any aspect of your being. Yeah, the only thing that for Rahim is that he's a wheelchair rider and may not be able to go as fast as any other person. And if the society is very accessible, what is Rahim's business?
I know.
He's very smart. He's very smart. So, and if and I think disability has, I mean, with or without, I think a smart person is a smart person. If Rahim was a lazy person, let him be on that wheelchair, will still be lazy.
That's true.
his personality is just a very sharp personality, and that is who he is. So
But
for
don't you
Nigeria,
think that if even if it is smart, as long as it's on that wish, he can as well decide to use that as an excuse and remain useless and say,
yeah, that's what I'm
my
saying.
condition will attract people to help me. But he's not doing so. And then I have a list of them. Mr. Mitiju in Osun State, when I went to Osun, in fact, they all amazed me. They impressed me. And I was like, if this type of people can do this, why are we still seeing the able youth useless, jobless? They don't want to do anything. Rahim has his own business, and I believe a lot of them has it like that. So my point is, we shouldn't look at our disability as a disease. I see it as a creativity. I posted something on my Facebook. A guy, a white guy, maybe Chinese or Russian, was going into the car. The way he gets in the car by himself was really amazed. It really amazed me, like, my goodness. So I see disability as a creativity. You can do wonders. And somebody sent me a video of one Nigerian person living with disability doing shoemaking and stuff. They want to do it, but they need help, either by financial help, moral help. They still need to be helped. And that is area I'm going to ask the question of how can we protect the rights of persons living with disability in the country and in our community? Because a lot of them, when they try, especially female, when they're trying to do something, go out there and help themselves, they find themselves in trouble, maybe raping or being neglected, rejected, and stuff like that. A lot of things are going on. So how do we protect them?
So we have a law. It's the implementation of the law that we see all of this. First of all, in which society do we find ourselves? And I keep saying to colleagues, as we want to address disability issues, it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all approach that we can bring in. We are in a society that everyone is struggling. Mm-hmm. They say we are a developing country. The characteristics of a developing country is still hovering on our heads, and there are a lot of issues, survival rate, everybody going around, and that was why for 16 years we kept screaming we needed a piece of legislation that would protect our rights. Because
until now you haven't gotten one, right? Sorry for the internet break up. Wow.
Yes, Ecoso Constitution did not take.
Go ahead.
Hello? Can you?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm saying we now have a piece of legislation protecting our rights. So we're going to start from there. And it's not going to be overnight. Implementation will take quite some time, but at least we are now in a safer space and a safer hand, because you can't just get up, I'm qualified and you don't want to give me a job. Mm-hmm. Before you could discriminate, violate our rights and get away freely. But now it's not going to be so. Then for government interventions that has to do with economic empowerment, mm-hmm. we are also fighting to ensuring that there's certain percentage reserved for persons with disabilities.
Okay.
Recently, there've been this survivor fund or in the post-COVID intervention funds, and people's businesses have become, we say, hey man, we've got people with disabilities who are doing business. Mm-hmm. They're in business. So what is the percentage that is reserved for them as it is? So what we're trying to do is to ensure that for every government intervention, we have slot or percentage reserved for persons with disabilities. That way, gradually we are closing the gap and we are coming into this space. It's not going to be overnight. whatever any woman experiences in Nigeria, yes, women with disabilities will experience twice, if not thrice, as much as that. If we're in a patriarchal society and women are being pushed, so women with disability will be even pushed further. So holistically, we are taking this in the context of the society where we find ourselves and what is available, and the available tools and instruments we can use to address any injustices or addressing any gaps that has been, identified. So we are going programs by programs. Whatever government is saying, we are showing up. So where is my space here? Where is it? So gradually we are coming in. And we're also using the twin track approach to disability mainstreaming in the work that we do. So in as much as we see disability as a standalone thematic issue, we also see it as a cross-cutting issue. So that is where I say all sectoral, all ministries, wherever agriculture, whatever they're doing, we show up. It's so huge a task. But then if we don't go to school now, we might not be able to pick up those spaces later. So that's why we are really pursuing education as it were.
That's true. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ekaete. And we have your people on YouTube sending greetings, your loved ones. My goodness. Oh my goodness, how many people am I going to? Okay, let me start from Honorable Adewale. Is one of our director in our organization, in our foundation. He said that you score A+. So we have Mr. Wale Akitade from Ondo State. Is one of your people. Is greeting you, sending his greeting. We have Mr. Onitiju also sending his greeting. Yusuf Olatuji is saying happy Sunday to you and Merry Christmas. They all say thank you so much for wonderful things you've been doing in our community. Mr. Henry also said thank you, ma'am. And Mrs. Umoh Ibira is saying thank you. Is one of our directors here in the US. She's sending greetings as well. And we have questions from your people. I'm going to add it to the final question, so because the question is a little bit related to one another. So I'm going to, but now let's go to my favorite section, and that is impact of wellness and nutrition in the community. What role does wellness play in our homes, community, and in the country? The importance of wellness. Tell us.
Wellness, can we separate wellness from life?
No, impossible. I just answered. I'm not supposed to answer that question.
I know, I'm just asking. How do we separate wellness from life? So I think it's everything. It's just like me attempting to define health. And if I go by WHO, it will tell me that it's not the mere absence of disease, the total well-being of psychological, emotional, and all of that. Wellness is so important. And the practical steps that we take towards achieving wellness is the most important for all of us. Because wellness is not just that we are well, okay, well. It has a combination and component of everything that it has to do. And for it to achieve that complete wellness as it is, your emotional, your spiritual, your environment, the kind of people you connect with, everything about it. So wellness is us. If you're not well, you can't even do anything. Productivity will just decline. And that is why I asked, how do we separate life from wellness as it is? And if you're not really, really well holistically, it will show up. It will show up and it will begin to impact on many things you can't even perform.
That's true. Thank you so much. I'm glad you say this, because I've been looking for way of getting other people involved in my professions. I am an integrative nutrition specialist. And what does that mean? We integrate cycle of life, what is happening outside your life, into nutrition. That's what integrative nutrition means. And when you are an integrative nutrition specialist, you have to use holistic approach to address the situation of your client. You look at your client as a whole person, not just diet alone. You look at mental status, spiritual part, you look at psychological, emotional, everything. Because sometimes people think that when you are depressed, it is health problem. Sometimes it has to do with your emotions. Maybe you are being disappointed by your boyfriend, or your husband is doing something in the house that turns you off from the system in the house. That can cause depression. That has nothing to do with your health, as in you have health problems. No, it is emotional problem. And when you're not happy, there's no way you can put the food on your table and eat.
Absolutely.
Example, when you don't have quality education, you can't have good career. Either you don't have education, either you have education or you are creative to design, to create something that will bring money to your table. That is when your financial status can be stable. And that is when you can harvest money to go to the market and buy the food and put it on your table. So everything is interconnected.
Absolutely.
You can't do all this without this. So the food is just secondary. So we see every other thing: career, education, spirituality, finances, emotion, relationship, about 12 circle of life as primary food. And today, we want to look at the final questions on this wellness and nutrition. What impact does good nutrition really have in our community, or let's say in our lives? You know, nutrition stands by itself, and wellness is also stand by, though they are together. But when it comes to nutrition, it has to do with diet, what we eat. Because sometimes what we eat nowadays cause a lot of problem in our life. What we put in this mouth determines the way you look, whether well or sick. So let's know in about 30 seconds the impact of nutrition in our life.
Okay, you just took it off my mouth, and there's this popular saying that says, "You are what you eat."
Yes. And
And
that's the title of our nutrition segment.
yeah. So you have said good nutrition. What does nutrition does? I mean, what is the impact? We take in food, and the food, goes to our system, helps our organ to, stay well, so that we can perform or can be productive. And so when you have the wrong set of food in you, you're likely to come down.
That's true.
Everything, it will overturn wellness. It will be upside down of wellness. Bad nutrition will give you the downside of wellness. And when you're done, everything is collapsing.
That's right.
Everything is collapsing. That's just it. So the bad nutrition, negative wellness. Good nutrition, it is part of because when your cells are activated and is getting the right nutrient, there's that energy, there's that boost, everything becomes lively in you, and you can move on. I think, and bad food can lead to diseases and all of that can break down our immune system, and we are not just nowhere.
That's
and
correct.
we are damaging our system and everything. Good nutrition, we can't overemphasize that. I'm happy you're an expert, so you can unpack and take us through and let us know what we can, the line of action we should take, so that we can have that, good nutrition that will help promote wellness as it
Yeah,
is.
sure. I have your people, and they didn't let me sleep. Even the midnights, I received call from PWD. They will call me, auntie, now I'm having this. What will I eat? I'm like, yeah. This is trouble. But I see joy in doing so, because I'm happy when I help. I'm happy when I'm able to solve and resolve, problems when it comes to diet and nutrition, wellness. I'm happy doing so. So that's not a problem with me. And I want to say thank you again. And now we are on the final questions. And this question also come from one of your people. And it says that hold on. Okay, it says that, is there any empowerment or loan for PWDs to survive the COVID-19? Maybe.
Yes, there is. There is. Recently, if you had gone to our Facebook, JONAPWD, you see that we placed an advert like 3 weeks ago saying that there was this survivor fund. and there were categories of the survivor fund for artisans and transportation. So if you're an artisan or into transportation, the federal government was giving out some palliative just for you to survive. And there are other interventions. That one is a grant, it's not a loan, a grant. So, and it's not too big because you're not going to pay back, but enough to support artisans or whatever small business you're doing. Then for loan, there are other levels of loan. And you don't really have to be a PWD. I told you we are mainstreaming disability component across sector. So if you had applied for any loan and you've been turned down, you let us know, because there are interventions happening. And so what we do, we are lobbying, we are bargaining, saying for this intervention, give us some slots. That's all that we are doing. And when that slot is given, we expect our people to also take and be responsible to pay, because it's a loan, as it were. But we, on top of that loan, we are saying there should be some criteria that will give some level of palliative again if any PWD is taking a loan, because any PWD in business may even have to spend twice as much as non-disabled people to run businesses. So we are also putting that angle to it, to seeing that there's a small money set aside that will enable persons with disability run their businesses instead of just a loan. So there are, but please take advantage of the survivor funds that is ongoing. If your state have not sent, please contact your zonal coordinator, put down your name, and so we can get the name across to the secretariat.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ekaete. The viewers, those who sent us questions, you just had our guest, Mrs. Ekaete, telling us that there's a provision for both loan and grant. So take the opportunity and apply for it. And I'm sure with her, you're good to go. I trust her. So now the final one is, please share your vision, your plan, and so on for 2021 with people you serve, because they sent the question to me. They said they want to know what you have for them 2021. I have my own. I have an organization that I serve persons living with disability, and they want to hear from our presidents. Our presidents. Tell us what you have for us 2021.
Okay. There's no denying the fact that 2021 has been turbulent and God saw us through. And so 2021, we are going to buy back. You remember the theme for this year's celebration, buying back better post-COVID-19. So everything is going to be like buying back better. Those gaps that COVID-19 has helped us to identify, we are going to be so much in a hurry to addressing those. Good. Do not forget that we now have a disability law in place that is not being implemented. So implementation of the law is something that we are going to run with. And if you get through the law, you will know what the content is. So first of all, we are going to raise awareness and popularize the law so that you can even know how to use the law to, assess your right, as it were. So implementation of the law. And in that implementation, you see there are many segments: education, employment, accessibility, and all of that. We are going to be looking at that. Then for women and girls with disability, we are going to ensure that there's great visibility. At the level of FASIP, we just established a corner called the Purple Corner. The Purple Corner is a safe space where women and girls with disability can come in and say it the way it is, especially when it has to do with sexual and gender-based violence. And so that it's a place where we provide some psychosocial support, and not psychosocial support. We address the root cause of the violence. Perhaps it was poverty that is leading to this extreme violence. Then we'll try to look how we connect people to some empowerment program and referral. For the guys, let it not be I'm talking about women alone.
You don't want to be penalized, right?
I love women. So for the guys, are you in school? Is this scholarship, or you've graduated? Because we're going to do employment. That 5%, we are going to test it right away. And I know there are a lot of men with disability that have been to school, very smart ones, and they're not getting jobs. So by next year, we're going to be gathering information, some data around employable persons with disabilities, or those that are ready to go to government employment. I mean to say not employable, government employment, and those who want to go into entrepreneurship skill jobs or be self-employed. We are going to also be looking at those ones as well. But employment is one thing that we are running with. We are trying to mop up those unemployed persons with disabilities that are still roaming the labor market. So as much as we can take in. So please just put that on your agenda. Then advocacy will not stop. Advocacy will continue. Recall that my tenure will finish by 2022. So we are we are on a countdown as it is now. So those are the things. Please, employment on one hand, very, very important. Education on one hand. So employment and education will be running with those two as it were.
Hmm. Oh my goodness. You know what? I don't know what to say. I'm just going to say something that Ephesians 6:7 says. It says that serve with good will as to the Lord and not to men. This is Ekaete. All you're doing are not for man, but for God. And listen to what good God says about this. He says that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good you do, I do. Whether he is a slave, whether you are a slave or you are free, whether I'm a slave, free, everything that goes on, we're going to be rewarded. Mrs. Ekaete, I say today that the Lord will reward you in good way, the good health you need to go around and achieve this your goal, the Lord will grant unto you. The Lord will lead you aright. He will give you the wisdom, because I know the different people will come your way and they want to make you feel like, I'm done with this. I can't even go on with this. But trust me, you can't do that, because I experience the same thing every day. And yet I'm still in this journey. And the Lord will go with you on that journey. You've been serving other, the Lord will serve you more than what you have done. All your prayers, your desire for this 2021, the Lord will grant them unto you, even beyond what you think. I'm so happy. I'm so honored. I'm so impressed having you on this program, serving your community and the whole world. Because you're not only serving your Nigeria, you are serving everybody in the whole world. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being on this program. Trust me, I really do. I appreciate you. I've never met you one-on-one, but I know the day I see you, it's going to be a day of celebration. You're going to enjoy me, because you're going to laugh. When you see me one-on-one, you will laugh, trust me. Thank you so much. In fact, my people, you have your leader, your president, Mrs. Ekaete Judith Umoh. Is it Umoh or Umoh?
Umoh, U-M-O-H, Umoh.
Okay, Umoh. All right. I just want to be sure that I'm not.
No, it's okay. It's Umoh.
Umoh. On the program today, telling you all you have missed, you don't know nothing about. He just told us everything that has to do with female gender, persons living with disability, vulnerability, nutrition, wellness, everything he just put together. You're a professional, you're a leader, you're a hero. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your Excellency. I don't know, maybe you're going to be the next president for Nigeria. We need to have women there. Trust me. Amen. Women should go there. Let's stop these men. They have driven us crazy for so long. Let's come out and let's push them out and see if we are going to do it. Thank you so very much. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. My regards to everybody at home. And I say Merry Christmas again and Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
And God bless you.
Amen. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, that is all on interview segment. My goodness, I'm sure you all enjoy this. And now we are on nutrition segment. On this segment, I'm sure we listened to the slide, the presentation of our topic on Health Corner. We have been educated on gastritis and bloating, as well as the causes and treatment. On the nutrition segment today, we will be looking at natural way to get rid of gas and stop bloating. Because of our time, it is 3 o'clock already, and I don't want to waste much of our time anymore. Because of the break in and out of the internet of our guests, we spent more than, normal usual time we're supposed to be on this program. So for this, I'm just going to mention briefly what you can do to stop bloating and gas. We have been educated what gas and bloating it's all about. Now, let's look at the fastest way to get rid of gas. Gas pain. The first thing you are going to do is you want to move your bowel. You pass to go to the bathroom. If you're having constipation, you can't go to the bathroom. Eat food that is rich in fiber that can soften your stool. Then you release and move your bowel, because passing stool will usually release any gas trapped in the intestines. Please do so. Number 2, you want to eat slowly. Eating quickly or while you are moving, when you are walking, can cause gas. Trust me, it can cause gas. You need to break down your food by chewing it first before you swallow it down. It will not only prevent you from bloating or gas, but it will also aid digestion. Please do so. The third one I'm going to mention is you have to avoid chewing gum if you have gas pain. If you are feeling bloated, avoid eating gum. When you do this, I think it should be able to help you out. Because when you chew gum, you tend to swallow air, which increases the likelihood of trapped winds and gas in your intestine. So please avoid chewing gum. Also, you want to avoid drinking through straws. Drinking through straw very often, because some of us have to put straw instead of pouring the drains into a cup, a glass. You want to use straw, especially at the event. Please, you need to stop this, because while doing this, you are swallowing air. You're putting more air in your intestine. So please drink directly from a bottle. I know that we have the same effect, but it depends on the bottle size or the shape. But try as much as possible to drink from the bottle if you don't have a cup or a glass around you. Also, you want to avoid or quit smoking. It is very important we quit smoking if you are a smoker. If you are not smoking, please avoid doing so. Whether using traditional or electronic cigarette, smoking causes air to enter your digestive tract, and you don't want this to happen. My advice for you is to just take a wise decision today and quit smoking if you smoke. Also, you want to avoid carbonated and choose non-carbonated drinks. These were said and mentioned in our health corner. Please drink carbonated drinks, such as sparkling water, soda, and so on. Stop drinking carbonated drink. It's not good. Apart from giving you gas, it will also put more sugar in your system. Please avoid that. Now, the next one I'm going to mention, which is going to be the last one, is you want to eliminate problematic foods, such as artificial sweetener, cruciferous vegetable that includes broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. If you have gas, you want to avoid all this food I'm talking about. because these are the food you can eat to get your nutrients. But if you are suffering from this problem, I mean gas and bloating, you got to avoid and eliminating this food. Broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower. You want to avoid it, please. You also want to avoid dairy products, fried foods, garlic and onions, high fat food, spicy food. Now, what are the food you can eat if you have gas and bloating? You want to drink herbal tea like ginger tea, chamomile tea, peppermint tea. These are the tea you can drink if you have gas or bloating. You want to take peppermint supplement as well. You want to snack on fennel seed. You want to add apple cider vinegar to water. It helps alleviate gas quickly. That works very, very effectively. Please do that. And the last one you want to do is you want to take probiotic. Probiotic. Probiotic did not only improve digestion. Take note of that. It did not only restore the gut flora, but it also helped boosting memory, mood, energy, and reduce inflammation. Please do exercise and also breathe deeply if you have gas and bloating. I hope today's program helps someone. I'm sure it does. Please share this program to help someone to get over gas and bloating. It is very important. I receive calls all the time when it comes to gas, and that is why I'm bringing this program. And I want you to note this: any topic, any case that we treat on this program, both on health and nutrition, it's based on the questions people ask. It's based on the problem people, discuss with us. So we don't want to discuss or tell them the solution alone. We bring it to the program so every other person, everybody can have the opportunity to know the solution to this problem, even though they're not going through it now. Maybe in the future, they can help themselves. So please share this program with other people to help someone. That is all on Healthy Living with BOFA today. Don't forget to leave your answer to the question in the comment box. Don't send me your answer directly. Please leave it on that YouTube comment box. And the question I'm going to mention quickly is, mention 2 signs if you have infection in your small intestine. What can you do to get rid of gas? Just mention 2. I just stated about 15. Just mention 2. Something you can do to get rid of gas. Put your answer right there on our comment box. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us today on this program. We appreciate your love, dedication, commitment, loyalty, and support. You are the best. God bless you all. In case you're joining us for the first time, this is Healthy Living with BOFA TV, educating you on health and wellness, and also nutrition and how to discover yourself through primary food. Live on this program every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Nigerian time, 1:30 p.m. US time, and 6:30 p.m. UK time. We love to have you back all the time, every Sunday and always. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for notification immediately we start this program and for more videos. Until next week, we meet again. I remain your host, Betsy Olayinka Folari Akinlosotu. Be well, safe, and healthy. Again, Merry Christmas to you all and Happy New Year in advance. Bye.
That is a marvelous